What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're taking a look at Space Marine 2 here for the Legion Go, and it was pretty disappointing on the Steam Deck. It's very CPU bound with that 4-core 8-thread, and I was curious how it would do on the Z1 Extreme when it comes to the Legion Go and Ally X, and it's been much more playable on both devices. So I want to get into the Legion Go here on this video and take a look at some performance here for 800p mostly and some low and medium settings, but we'll get into it and take a look at those here. Now, as far as the settings go for this game, they're not super robust, but we'll be on full screen 800p. We'll take a quick look at 1200p. FSR2 at quality, we'll mess with that. We don't have FSR3 or in-game frame gen, which is unfortunate. And then we have low, medium, high, and we're going to mess with low and medium when it comes to this video with a lot of focus on low. Now, I'm going to omit from 1200p in this video because in so many areas of the game, when it gets much rougher than this, it's just too much for the system to really be able to handle. This is a pretty demanding game and rough to run on a lot of the systems, especially lower end hardware on these handhelds, so I'm not really going to mess with that. I am sticking with 25 watts in the video, but you could certainly get away with 20. You lose a few FPS, and in those demanding areas where the CPU's hit with lots of enemies on screen, it does make a difference between 20 and 25, so I'm sticking with 25 for this performance, but you could probably get away with 20 to 22 if you wanted to there. Now, again, there's no FSR3 or in-game frame gen, which is unfortunate because that works so great in Black Myth Wukong. But with FSR2 here, we'll switch over to balance and we'll gain an FPS or two here, and it's fine. I'll use quality or balance in this game. Quality mostly for the video. If we go over to performance, you'll gain a couple of more here, but image quality will get worse, especially later on with a lot of enemies on screen, but we do have a little bit of play there if we want to. Now, if we go to native, it looks much better, but when things get busy later on in the game, that doesn't work great either. I found quality to be pretty good and balance is fine there as well. Now, if we go back to our quality here on low, we're going to switch to medium. So we'll go from 36 to 31 FPS just standing still here, but what a difference in image quality. Even though I'm going to focus a lot on low, the game does look really good on medium, and you may want to play that way depending on what you see here in this video and your experience, or at least just turn a few settings up to medium, like the textures and some of the other stuff. Maybe leave shadows down. Your performance will probably be fine. Now, if we just use the presets though, low versus medium right here next to each other, 36, 31, 37, 32. So we're seeing 4, 5, 6 FPS difference, just kind of running in this area that's not busy at all here when it comes to combat and that kind of stuff. So already a pretty good difference there. Image quality certainly much better on medium. Now, as we get into combat, this isn't even a really busy area, but you'll see even at low, things will start to struggle and we'll be in the 20s. A lot of areas of this game, even at the 800p, FSR, low, or whatever, when things get busy and there's a lot happening on the screen, you just tend to wind up being down in the 20s a lot of the time in a lot of these areas, especially this whole first planet and about the first 4 hours of the game. It gets better later on the second planet, but it kind of depends on where you're at and what you're doing. Now, this same exact scene in medium is instantly going to come down quicker on the FPS here into the 20s, and also it's going to wind up coming much lower. We kind of stayed in that higher FPS area with low, even though it came down lower, and this one will come all the way down to 22, 23, and you'll see scenes later in the game where it comes down into the teens if we try to use medium. So you're going to have to find a balance there. If you want to up from low, just turn a few settings up on the medium side to get some of the visuals out of it, but it's going to be tough as you start to turn things up. And another quick side-by-side here for low versus medium. You'll see, again, low getting you some more FPS here. Maybe turn those textures up would look nicer here because they do look better here on the medium textures, but you can see a pretty good difference here with our performance and visuals here side by side. Where it really gets to be a big difference, like I said, is when it gets to being a lot of enemies on screen and a lot going on, which this is another area of that earlier on in the game, which is a good example of what can happen in these larger combat zones where we're definitely going to be playing under 30 the whole time. The good thing is that the system does have enough ability to keep the frame times at least somewhat playable. I'm not calling this frame rate playable, that's subjective, but I'm just saying it does run it smoother than what some even lower powered systems would be trying to do if we had more CPU issue than we do with this one here. But yeah, even at low, we're going to come down there on the FPS, but I was able to get through this area without dying or anything here. Now, if we switch over to medium, it is going to come down a little bit lower, just like that other scene, but as the enemies start to fill in and we get even more happening here, this is one of the scenes where we'll come down to about 19 FPS. And later on in the game, just sitting here playing at home, I've seen some areas on medium come down to about 16, 17 FPS for a while in that too. So again, it's kind of a balance of what you're going to want to be able to pull out of the system there when you're messing with these settings if you're playing this game on your Legion Go. But I think for the most part, I would call the game playable on the Legion Go. Those are some of the worst case scenarios. A lot of the areas don't run as badly, and again, a lot of areas of this second planet that you get into run a lot better for whatever reasons, a different environment and all that type of thing. But even with getting a lot of enemies on screen, we're not down into the 20s like we were in that forest here with these enemies. We're still up in the 40s. So just be mindful that it's not just going to depend on your settings, but honestly, depending on what mission you're on, what planet you're on, and that type of thing, how many enemies, it's really going to affect your performance. Are you coming all the way down to 22 FPS at low 800p, or are you still maintaining the 40s and sometimes into the 50s? The game's really all over the place when it comes to that, but being able to play it all on this lower end hardware when it comes to these handhelds, I still think is pretty good overall. Now, another note, you could use 4 gigabytes of VRAM for this game. It never really called for more unless I was at medium. So if you're playing low and you want to give it some more system RAM, you can actually help some of that low frame rate when a lot of NPCs come on screen by having more system RAM. We're kind of shorting it here by having 6 gigs set to VRAM, but I wanted to see how the game would act that way, and I was testing medium, which does call for more than 4. But if you're running on low mostly, you could probably change to 4 gigs instead of 6, have a little bit more system RAM, and it will actually help a little bit, just like in some of the Assassin's Creed games. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up. Space Marine 2 here on the Lenovo Legion Go. This should give you a good idea of what kind of performance to expect from the game. Do you even want to try to play the game on here, and what kind of settings you might want to lean towards and go with for your own preferences there. All right, guys, thanks a lot for coming and check out the video. As always, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.